Fantastic to see all of you, and just please accept our heartfelt gratitude from the entire ministry for you all being part of today. We love having these town halls. It's the one opportunity that we have to get a number of people together and to be able to share what God is doing on behalf of the gifts that you provide. And so thank you so very much for how you support this ministry, and you being here today is representative of your enthusiasm to do so. Hey, I guess I just wanted to start off with this. I hope that you have all had a chance to see and read through our 2023 annual report. I'm hopeful that you've all had a chance to get a hard copy, and if you haven't and you'd like one, please let us know. But you'll know that obviously the theme of this is good news, and the good news was really a group of statements and stories about the favor that God has bestowed on the ministry over the course of the past year. And the good news obviously stems from Isaiah 61:1, where it says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, and he has appointed me to bring good news to the poor." And I make the big assumption that when the word says he has appointed me, it's not Bob Cleary, it's all of us individually, that the reason why you are here is because God has knitted and cultivated a heart to bring good news to the poor. So very grateful for you for doing so. And when we ask this question, like, well, what is the good news of Orphan Network? Well, we could run through lots of statistics, but at the end of the day, good news is really about three things. It's about salvations and starting a lifelong walk with Jesus. There is nothing more important in the entire world than that decision and that behavior that becomes a lifelong walk. The second thing is transformation. Orphan Network spends an awful lot of time trying to do really, really good activity. But at the end of the day, it is really about a transformed life. And the third thing is, particularly for this group of kids and youth, it's about giving them a hope for the future. Those are the three big things that Orphan Network is all about. And so I know that you never tire of seeing the faces and hearing the stories of children who are impacted by your ministry. And so I just wanted to take a second and kind of put a spotlight on 4 different people, just so you could see exactly what you're doing. And the first one is really around wheelchairs. We have special medical cases that many of you support during the year. This past year, we were able to supply many kids in various parts of Nicaragua with wheelchairs. And the thing that just breaks my heart is that for many of these kids and young people, they never get outside of their home. They just have no way of doing so. And so for us to be able to provide these wheelchairs and give an opportunity for families to help children and youth open up the world to them, to be able to go outside, to look at a blue sky, to look at trees, to be able to hear the sounds and see the sights of what's going on in their community. That is a miraculous, beautiful thing that many of you make happen. The second one is really around our graduates from our sewing machine repair class. As you know, we've had a partnership with Mission 14 for many, many years. And a year ago, we started not only we had the technicians class, but we also added a machine repair class. And this is a group of graduates that represent that class. And these are the individuals that you may know that actually can start a career in this. It's not just a job, but it gives these young people an opportunity to start a career. And then the third group, and I never tire of these, it's the children that we feed. You know, our ministry is grounded in two predominant foundations. The first is feeding, and the second is faith. And you can't have faith until somebody can actually hear the message, and they can't hear the message without food. And so never tired of seeing that. And then the fourth one is really around these young teenagers and young people who start their walk with Jesus. Can there be anything more powerful than that? So I love these photos. Hope you do too. Well, hey, today, what we want to do is we want to start to share with you a portion of God's fresh vision for Orphan Network. Our mission statement is not changing. It's still in partnership with the local church. We join with Jesus Christ in his transformative work to break cycles of poverty amongst highly vulnerable children. That's not changing. But over the course of the past year and a half, what we believe God has asked us to do is to think about the end game. We've spent many years building our program design, feeding kids, providing health and nutrition, inserting an after-school education program, hoping kids get discipled. But one of the things that we believe God is asking us to do is, so really though, what's the end game? What are we trying to do with these young people? And so when they leave our program, we would like them to be equipped for economic independence. And we also want them to have a thriving relationship with Jesus. And so when we start with that perspective, the end game in mind, what we have to start doing is looking at various parts of our ministry and finding out, do we have any improvements to make in making sure that we are equipping young people to be economically independent? And so what we want to do is focus on one part of answering that question. And the one part of answering that question is actually to move to the beginning of our developmental design. And we really want to focus on what we believe has been a gap in our programming between age 1 and age 5. And so for those of you who have been around a while, you know that we've had an extremely successful after-school education program. We focused on reading comprehension, literacy, and mathematics. But when we look at the kids that are coming into that program, the vast majority of those kids are not prepared to make the very significant jump between an unstructured environment for the first 4 or 5 years of their life and then moving into primary school. And so today, what we want to talk about is becoming primary school ready. And we're going to talk about that from a physical development standpoint as well as a cognitive development standpoint. In the future, we'll focus on youth development and spiritual formation. But today, we really want to start at the beginning of the developmental process. And so with that, I'd like to turn it over to Eddie, who's going to share with you a few more details about this new season that God seems to be asking us to walk through. Eddie?
Yes. Thank you so much, Bob. Good morning to each one of you. Good afternoon. Man, I am so excited. So excited to see familiar faces, friends, brothers, sisters. A lot of you I have not seen for a while. So I'm so glad that you were able to join us. Thanks for giving us 30 minutes of your precious time today. Thank you so very much. We are able that we can take advantage of this time to share what God is doing, what he continues to do in and through Orphan Network. And remember, you are Orphan Network. And as Bob said, we strongly believe that God is taking us to a new season. We are joining him in his transformative work, transforming the life of our precious children in Nicaragua. But also we strongly believe that he is taking us into a new season. And we want to talk about this new season with you, share it with all the excitement that he has placed in our heart. And we just can't wait to see how he is going to unfold this out in Nicaragua for the benefit of our children. And when I say for the benefit of our children, Bob said our mission hasn't changed. It is about transforming the life of our children, breaking cycles of poverty, so they may have a great life on earth. And then when it ends, it may be even greater with Jesus in heaven forever and ever. That's not changing. No, we are always about those two things: great life on earth, greater in heaven with Jesus forever and ever. I have been with ORPHANetwork almost for 16 years now, and I have seen several seasons that God has taken us through. It's been exciting. It's been exciting because for me, when I think of the fourth season that he is leading us into this year, it's taking all the learnings from the previous 3 seasons. Remember, we have one of our values is continuous improvement. We want to make sure that we're doing things with excellence. We understand and we believe that excellence honors God and inspires others. So over these years, I have seen 3 seasons actually. The first season was when ORPHANetwork was born. And practically speaking, that was 1995 when the bunch of young people came down from Virginia to Nicaragua serving 1 orphanage. And that took us to serve 6 orphanages. So the first season was 1995. In year 2000, we got our 501c3 legal documents. But then there was a second season after working with orphanages, or as we continue to work with orphanages, there was a second season that God took us to, and that was the day when we launched our first feeding program, in the community of Nueva Vida in 2005. We had enough food for 50 children. But that's where this new season started. This second season started. That second season took 3 years because in 2008, God led us into a third season. A third season where we were not only feeding kids, as someone said, we were clear that we were not going to feed them until Jesus comes, but that we had to do more in order to transform their life, in order to make an impact in their life, in order to help them to break cycles of poverty. So in 2008, we continued working with orphanages, we continued working with feeding programs, but now we brought in programs to the feeding component as well. So we started working with pregnant women, with lactating, we brought in our after-school education program, training, clean water, job training that Bob was talking about, other programs, a whole bunch of other programs that would help our children to really break cycles of poverty. That season went from 2008. It's going to be ending in August of this year. And then the fourth season that we're projecting, God is taking us to, it will be starting in September of this year. The fourth season for us is the season where God is going to do a lot more. Let me explain that. First of all, I would like to say that we worked on this new program for this new season with 3 objectives. The first one was we really wanted to make sure that we had more children on track to break cycles of poverty. More children on track to break cycles of poverty. 16,000 children is what we're talking about. The second objective is we wanted to be at a higher impact level. Now, this is important for us because with this second objective, we dig into our previous seasons to find all the learnings, all that worked perfectly, and opportunities that were there that we can take advantage of in order to go to a higher level, higher impact for our children. And three, the third objective, we said, can we do those two things? More kids on track to break cycles of poverty, a higher impact, and three, at a lower cost. So we took these three objectives to build the program that we will be launching in September of this year, which for us is the fourth season. The fourth season where we take all of the learnings to build, and I know I personally have been saying, man, it's almost a perfect program. I know there is no perfect program, but I'm so excited to know that we take all of the learnings from the first season, from the second season, from the third season, all that worked well, but also we learn from gaps that we had, from opportunities that we have in order to do better, to go to that higher impact that we want to reach. As example, in our fourth season, one of the gaps that we found was the children of the age of 0 through 2. We were not serving these kids with early childhood stimulation. Interestingly, in Nicaragua, there is a lack of cultural awareness of the importance of early childhood stimulation. So in all of our community, and especially in the rural community, kids are not being developed properly. And we can see that when they come to first grade, because they come with no early childhood stimulation, and they come with no early grade education, which is preschool. But today, in the new season, we have a program that we have been piloting already in 37 churches. And one of the program that we're piloting is the early childhood stimulation, as you can see in the photos. Kids are having fun. Moms, communities, dads are just working with their children in order to develop them completely, properly, prepare them to be champions when they come to first grade. Usually, they wouldn't do this until they come to first grade. And we usually say when they come to first grade, they don't know numbers. Interestingly, many of them don't even know how to hold a pencil. That is going to change because we are already working with early childhood stimulation. We have 37 volunteers with our after school education program and 37 volunteers with our health program in our communities. And these are the volunteers that are working with moms and dads. And these are the volunteers that are using recyclables, materials in order to build the resources that we're using for our early childhood stimulation. Then we're going to join that 0 through 2 with the early grade education, 3 through 5, pre-K1, pre-K2, and kindergarten. So when our kids get through early childhood stimulation and get into preschool, and once that is over and they go to first grade, we use the word, they're going to be champions. And they're going to advance in primary a lot faster, a lot better than how it is going today. So we're so excited to see what God is going to definitely continue to do in this fourth season, where we're taking all of our learnings from previous 3 seasons and just building a great program that will put more kids on track to break cycles of poverty with a higher impact, because we're filling gaps, to make it, as I said, almost perfect. And 3, can we do that at a lower cost? At a lower cost because community will be empowered. Community will be contributing. Communities, moms, dads, and volunteers will be giving their services to our kids as well. So thank you so very much. Again, you are part of this, of what God is doing and what God will continue to do, transforming life of children in Nicaragua to break cycles of poverty, also to help them to have a personal relationship with Jesus and earth great life and eternity with Jesus for forever and ever. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Maria Luisa, who will be talking to us more about early grade education.
Thank you, Eddie. It is a great joy for me to share with you this morning. As we have been saying, because we are on continuous improvement, we did a survey in the communities, and we found that most of the parents in our communities did not pass third or fourth grade. So it is very hard for them to set expectations for their children. So they can't really help them with their school assignments. They don't really encourage them to attend school or even stay in school. And it's very hard for them to understand about brain and physical development and how this happens in the human life cycle, especially in young children, which is the most important stage. So, and we also found that parents just don't believe in preschool education. Just to give you a little bit of context about Nicaragua, elementary school is from first to sixth grade, and what we have been identifying in our after-school education program, those are the grades that we work with, first and sixth grade. We have found that children are not ready for first grade, and they really face this uphill difficulties in being successful. So this is where we found the gap. We found this gap, and we decided to incorporate this and attend children. So we added this new strategy, and we are working now with preschool children. And preschool in Nicaragua is 3 and 4 years old, and kindergarten is age 5. But if you just imagine how hard it is for a child to go to first grade and not understanding what's going on, not knowing what a vowel is, what a consonant is, not being able to understand teachers' instructions, not being able to share with their classmates. So we need to work that. That's where we have this difficulty, and we need to address this. So we're going to address this by attending these ages, 3 to 5 years old. So why is it important for children to attend preschool? What happens in preschool that will give our children that school readiness they need in order to be successful? Well, if you think about it, in preschool, they're going to be working with their cognitive skills, social skills, language development. They're going to be working with independence and self-care skills, and of course, nature, curiosity, and interest for learning. So all of that taking place in a preschool class just excites me. So imagine also like working those gross and fine motor skills, being able to hold a spoon, being able to hold a pencil, not even with your hands, but also things that for us, we do every day, but children need to learn about hand washing also. And learning letters, colors, listening to songs, to rhymes, all of that is just what's going to help children to be ready for that elementary school in the future. So in December of last year, we met with some parents in our local churches and to tell them about the importance of preschool. The attendance of parents was not very good. So this year in January, we decided to visit them, go to their houses. So we went home from home. We explained to them the importance of preschool, and in simple words so that they could understand. And some of these parents were, one of the things we found is that some of these children did not have their birth certificate. And their birth certificate is important in order to be enrolled into preschool. And not just that, but also it could be a barrier for future blessings for them, for future benefits. So we also companion parents to this process of getting their children's birth certificates. And they were really excited once they understood the importance of preschool, attending preschool. And we were able to enroll 257 children into preschool. Imagine that. To me, that's just really exciting. If you think about it, that's just a little bit over 10 classrooms of children you know. And because we're working with volunteers, every morning at 7 a.m., they rally, they go on the doors knocking, rallying these children so they can attend school. So it's a very big blessing. And as you can see there, these little ones wearing their uniforms and going to preschool, for us, it's a triumph, you know. And not just that, but also in this year, we have been working with microzones. Okay, so microzones are spaces in our local churches where we meet with supervisors, facilitators, and volunteers from the community. And what we do is we work with them, we work with methods and strategies so they can learn how to attend the children in a much better way. At the moment, we have 20 microzones. We have 18 microzones that are physical. They take place in the different churches. And we have 2 online. We have 2 online because they are in Puerto Cabezas and Huaspan. This is like 600 kilometers away from our main office, or that would translate also to an 11-hour drive. So we're meeting with them online, and this is to keep contact and just keep that communication going, and just giving them all the tools they need in order to serve our children in a better way. We also have been working with volunteers much closer also in the different communities. And if the children see the volunteers in the community walking, they run to them and they greet them and say teachers to them. And they know that there's one person in that community that's willing to help them, that's willing to, you know, walk with them through this education process. And to finish, I would like to share with you the story of Cristal Cruz Hernandez. When we first met with Crystal's mom, she said, I don't want to send her to school. She's too young to go to school. She's too young to learn. She's not going to be able to learn. But when we explained to her all the benefits Crystal was going to gain in preschool, then she understood and she enrolled Crystal into school. Crystal is also part of our feeding program. So just think about this. For me, it's going to be very exciting to meet again with you 3-4 years from now and just tell you how successful Crystal is in her school. So I think we're just doing this wonderful work with these little children, with these little champions, and they're going to be successful elementary students and continue their studies in the future. Thank you very much. Back to you, Bob.
Maria Luisa, thank you so much. Well, I'll tell you what, I know we're at the bottom of the hour, and forgive me, I'm the one that went a little long. So I'll just wrap it up real quickly with this. We know that you heard a whole bunch of new terminology today. Microzones, sensory development, motor skill development. And I'll tell you what, for many of you, that may be way too much detail. But really, we wanted to give you an insight on where we believe that God is taking this ministry. And so what I'd like to leave you with is that we are absolutely committed to doubling down on the impact that we can make on children who live in extreme poverty in Nicaragua. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I want to go back to what Eddie said real quickly, that we want to have more and more children on this path to reach their God-given potential. But we've designed this program to eliminate costs. So all of this new innovation that we're packing into the ministry, we are not adding costs to do so. In fact, we are taking some costs significantly out of the system. So that's a really good thing. And then the third thing is that you're in the very near future, you're going to be receiving a bit of information about a program to help us support this pilot program. And we're calling the campaign As Long as There Is One. And it's the idea that kids are so important to Nicaragua that as long as there's one kid who really needs help, we're going to do everything we can to put them on this path. And so with that, we want to close with about a 1:30 little video of Eddie sharing a few thoughts, and then we'll be done. And if you'd like to stay and ask a few questions, that'd be great.
There were three underlying foundations, I would say, that we worked based on. One, more kids. More kids on path to break cycles of poverty. More kids thriving in a personal relationship with Jesus, being economically independent. Second, greater impact. So how can we fill the gaps? One of our values is continuous improvement. Excellence honors God, inspires others. We will continue to improve everything. And the third is, how can we do that at a lower cost as well? So this fourth season that we're getting into, it's going to be wonderful. God is going to do a lot more. Greater things are yet to come. You are part of this. Don't miss it. Yes, we need your support. Yes, we need you to help us. And by doing this for one generation, we will affect the second, the third, the fourth generation. All these kids needed was an opportunity. Someone to believe. Someone to just believe in them. They're going to break cycles of poverty. They're going to have a greater life on earth. They're going to have quality of life on earth. And when it ends, it's going to be even greater with Jesus in heaven forever and ever. It's a huge blessing. How can we say no to something like that? How can I just walk away from something like that?
God, we thank you so very much for your love and mercies, and thanks for all that you have done in us, through us. We thank you so very much for brothers and sisters who have joined us this morning to learn about what you are doing, God, and what you will continue to do. Thank you so very much for each one of them. We pray that you may bless them, bless their families, God, their businesses, their ministries. Be with them, please. We thank you so much, God, for what you are going to do, continue to do through ORPHANetwork to impact the life of so many children in Nicaragua for your glory, to advance your kingdom in Nicaragua, one life at a time, one church at a time, one region at a time, one country at a time, God. We thank you so very much, and we give you all the glory, all the honor this morning. In the name of Jesus, amen. Amen. Well,